If you ask me, Bandcamp is the best place to discover and support independent artists and their music. Bandcamp gives at least 80% of the money from each sale to musicians and labels. And it's a great place to find and listen to great music that it's off most radars. All kinds of music from all over the world.
It's a party!
With hundreds of thousands new songs uploaded on the net every day, finding the good stuff can be daunting. Now, sure, only a fraction of those songs are on Bandcamp, but the site actively helps you discovering projects you actually like at your preferred price point, even for free, without dodgy algorithms keeping you in a stale bubble. That's why I created this extremely detailed guide to help you get the most out of Bandcamp and find new indie music you love. That's how we'll make music great again. Wait, I didn't mean it like that.
I'm sorry, you're too late.
Hello, top batters and newcomers. This is Sam Mas, your friend, offering you this non-sponsored guide and his offbeat sense of humor. But enough talk already. Let's dive in. Open bandcamp.com. Immediately on the right of the branded name, you get the search box. Of course, you can use it to search, but there's a quicker, easier, and more powerful use case that demands our attention right now: browsing. Or as the folks at Bandcamp call it, discover.
It's magic.
Click on the search box and voila! Before you even type a single letter, you get a drop-down browsing menu. You can click on Browse All or on any genre, say electronic, the first one on the list. You get redirected here on the Bandcamp Discover page, where you are presented with the best-selling albums, EPs, singles belonging to this genre. On the right, you get this floating widget with the big cover of the first album on that list. Click on the play button to start listening right away. You can also use the widget to go to that release page for more details, or to add the item to your wish list, or to follow the artist or label who uploaded the item and get on their newsletter.
Keep in touch!
Clicking on any other cover will immediately play the highlighted track for that release. That's a pretty simple way to get in touch with music you never heard before. Well, I kept my promise of helping you finding new music. Happy listening! Bye! Ha! I haven't even scratched the surface of what browsing can do for you. Let's get the pro stuff rolling, shall we? Look here! I could go on forever about these three menus alone, which I won't, don't sweat it. But do look here! Click on the first arrow. Bam! The first drop-down menu and three options to get a different list. Best selling, the default one, because you can't go too wrong with trendy titles other people are buying, right? New arrivals, because you want to stay cutting edge and define trends, you rascal music explorer you. Surprise me, because it is the 21st century, Bandcamp has its algorithms and you don't want to ignore them and make them feel bad. It's gonna pay off when machines will get power over us human cattle. Trust me. Seriously, I've used the surprise me option in the past and it gave decent and most importantly diverse results. I can't tell you if this is tailored on your listening habits. As we've seen, you can listen to music for free on Bandcamp, or on the items you have bought, or on those on your wish list, or on thin air. What I can tell you is that even if you use it on a regular basis, you're not going to be stuck in a rut like it happens on YouTube or Spotify. Third drop-down menu. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the second in a bit. Third menu. You can choose a time frame. I tend to use the default option more often than not, but that's just me. You, being the anarchists you are, can change the time frame and put, say, 6 weeks ago, getting different results. Different results equals more variety. Second drop-down menu, location, location, location.
Location, location, location.
This is where I am personally sold on Bandcamp. You can browse music coming from a specific place. Right now, we're looking at all the best electronic sellers on the website. But I only want to know about those coming from, say, Ghana. Shout out to my Ghanaian viewers out there. Let me type Ghana. Boom, baby, Republic of Ghana. You want to focus on just Accra, the capital? There you go! Naturally, if there is no available album from a specific place, you get nothing. Look for electronica from, say, the town of Otranto, Apulia, and you'll see what I mean. Naturally, there's nothing preventing an artist based in, say, New York City to place themselves elsewhere. But I found that people don't usually do that. They know misrepresentation can and will hurt them, for locations, but even more for genres. Because saying that you are in North Korea might make for a fun statement. But if you say your trad jazz album is a punk record, you won't be found by the right public, and you will sell much less. Let's now discuss what is, perhaps, the most powerful option the Bandcamp Discover page gives us. Tags. Genre and subgenre tags, for a start. Here we are again on the electronic screen. Now, electronic is a huge genre. Let's say I just want to browse chillwave items. The label is conveniently placed here. Click on it and you get items that have both the electronic and chillwave tag. And we get further choices here to further narrow down our selection. That's another rabbit hole you can adventure in. When you want to get rid of one of those tags, you just need to click on the X next to it. In fact, you can get rid of all of them tags.
Kill them all.
What if you want a tag that is not shown below? Well, you can use this search box, this one, not the one above, to add a genre, location, or mood tag, or any word as long as someone has used it as a tag. Remember, each tag adds identifiers. The more tags you have, the more you are niching down. You can go crazy. Say, I want albums that are metal, jazz, and EDM. I wonder if there is actually any release that combines these three genres. Well, apparently there's quite a few. Let's give one a listen. This has nothing to do with the metal and jazz genre, but perhaps EDM? Although it's not very danceable. Let's choose another. Better. Now, this was a pretty extreme example, but as you can see, no gatekeeping means that some people are going to abuse the freedom. You can't get a perfect word, I guess. Naturally, if you niche down too much and you don't get many choices, erase some of the tags you've chosen or choose a larger area or location. There might be other minutiae to talk about. For example, you can decide to select only a specific type of medium, vinyls. For example, click done. But I doubt you want me to go into such obnoxious level of detail. If there is something you don't understand, ask me with a comment. If I can help you, I will. I do want to close this talk on browsing/discovering, pointing out one obvious fact though. The sheer amount of music you can discover on Bandcamp by playing around with these options we just discussed. It's a never-ending carousel of surprises. And it's also a great way to find and support a specific music scene, one you would have had a hard time discovering by more conventional means. Wanna hear what jazz big bands in Sao Paulo, Brazil are up to? Or you want to check the experimental scene in Singapore? You can.
Woo-hoo!
Bandcamp has its limits, of course, but you must agree that it makes things very easy for us music fans. Come on, one final pro tip. Look for the name your price tag to find music that you can pay whatever you want. You might think these are low quality releases, but you would be mistaken. It's just a marketing device. Some of the name your price albums are really hot. Of course, you can choose to get that music for free. In that case, you will be added to those artists' mailing list, as opposed to choosing to share your email with them. You can opt out later, but do try to support these people. Remember that these are independent artists and labels, not mega corporations. Personally, I find browsing the most exciting tool on Bandcamp because you don't even have to know what you are looking for. Every time I play with it, I find good stuff. Give it a try and let me know what you think with a comment. Let's go back to the Bandcamp landing page, just to start this new section from a clean slate. Time to use that search box to actually search for stuff. The first thing you want to know is that this is not Google. Things like and, or, no, quotes, did you mean, and all that juicy stuff doesn't work here. This is an old school search engine that works like it's early 2000s internet. The memories. Having said that, you can search for anything you like. Let's see what happens if I search for banana. As you type, you see there's a few suggestions. Artists, labels, sometimes albums, all containing the keywords you are searching for. You can decide to see all artists and labels, albums and tracks results only. These are just a few selected results chosen algorithmically. Naturally, you can click on See All Results to get, well, all the results. You also have the option to browse through all the music tagged with banana, which naturally works for other tags too. Following this option brings you to the Bandcamp Discover page, so we're going to ignore it right now. We just finished covering more browsing that you'll ever need. Let's go with See All Results. Click. Surprise, surprise, we get several results.
Ta-da!
Notice that you have a further option to filter down these results, the fans category. Yes, you can look at the collection, wishlist and followed artists by other Bandcamp music fans if they allow the option. Okay, we had enough bananas for this video. Let's have a more serious user case. Let's search for an artist called Simon Mas. Here I am with my official artist profile. Alas, I'm definitely very little. The silver lining here is clear. If I can be found with a search, you can find any artist you know is on Bandcamp. Notice that bigger artist names can function as tags too. Let's search for Peter Gabriel. See? Fun fact, if you click on that label, you'll see that the suggested albums are not by Peter Gabriel. How come? And more importantly, how do we decide to use one tool or the other? If you search for Peter Gabriel tagged releases, you get those being tagged as such by their artists. The goal was to indicate they are somehow connected with Gabriel's music. Tony Levin, for example, is Gabriel's bass player. But you also get music that sounds a bit like or is influenced by Gabriel's, according to those who released it. Evidently, Peter did not tag his albums with his name, so they didn't show up in this tag search. To dispel any confusion, I use this rule of thumb. If you have a specific name, an artist, a label, an album name, a song title, search for it to get it. Go for the browsing if you're just exploring instead.
I'm confused.
Maybe this example will make things clear once and for all. You recall what to do if you want to browse for music coming from a specific location, right? If instead of doing that, you search for, say, Brazil, you will get results not necessarily coming from Brazilian artists. It is clearly fair that people like Jets to Brazil are shown in the results. Or, who knows, people like Max Abrams, based in Nashville, who thinks you like his album if you like Brazilian bossa nova. I hope everything is clearer now. Before we proceed any further on our journey to get the most out of Bandcamp, we need to detour for a bit. I need to give you a step-by-step tutorial on opening a fan account on the site. Now, you can use Bandcamp without an account. Of course you can! You can still sample each release. You can still buy the music you like. On the other hand, opening a fan account is 100% free, and it will be extremely handy to unlock many cool features. Consider the advantages. There are 3 main perks that come with a Bandcamp account. 1. You can stream the releases you have bought from your PC and your phone. Even the physical releases you have bought come with the digital files for you to download and stream with no added cost or monthly payment. Forever.
Caution, this is the internet. Forever might last less than you expect.
It just works! I remember when I discovered this feature on the Bandcamp phone app last year. I've never looked back. 2. You can access the digital files of your purchases to download anytime you want. I think I remember getting the files with an email, but it's been years, literally, since I bought anything without an account. Now, I just get my files from my fan page. Convenient and quick. 3. You can create a wishlist, which makes it really easy to recall which releases you want to check out. Now you can do it from your fan account with a couple of clicks anytime you want. There are other advantages too. Getting notifications when favored artists release something. Getting curated suggestions tailored to your tastes. Using Bandcamp as a kind of social media to explore purchases by people with similar tastes as yours. Look, I'm very particular about opening random accounts, so trust me on this one. A Bandcamp account is really worth your while. So, what do you need to do? The Bandcamp homepage. Click on Sign Up on the top right of the screen. You want to sign up as a fan. If you have your own music to sell, refer to any of the many artist or label Bandcamp guides out there, or ask me to create another ultimate guide for that. I might do it if enough people ask for it. Click on the fan option. Fill your data in. The usual stuff. Email address, chosen username, password. Do read the terms of use. I've read it ages ago and there's nothing that you haven't seen before, so I'll just click the I've read it box right now. Click on sign up and there you go. You've created your account.
Oh yes.
Naturally, you need to confirm your email address by clicking the link in the mail they sent you to finalize the whole process. But I've got better things to do right now. Let's edit the profile. You can change your account name, add your location, add a link to your website or preferred social media, write something about you. Again, nothing requiring a degree, but since we're here, why not spending a couple of words on it? Let's choose a picture for the profile. This one from my first communion will do. Let's choose a banner. Any standard one is alright for me. It's done!
Mission accomplished.
See how quick and painless this is? Now, I want to show you a couple more things quickly. Let's refresh the page. Click on the little profile picture on the top right or on the default blue thingy in case you don't have a profile picture yet. Go to settings. The two most important things are in the fan section. 1. See this payment email addresses thing? Well, say you use a PayPal account connected with an email address different from the one connected to this account. Add your PayPal address here so that you will get the music on the account. The same goes for other email addresses that you might have used in the past to buy music. Bandcamp will send you a verification email on these new addresses, of course. I can't show you the process because this is not my real account and I don't want to screw that one up, but I promise you, it's really easy to set these up.
If you say so.
2. Go to the bottom of the page. This is the link you have to click to delete the account, which I'm going to do because I don't need this one anymore. I'll use my regular account for the rest of this guide. Click on the link, click on terminate, and that's it.
Another job well done.
Look into all the other settings at your leisure. It's hardly anything to write home about. In fact, connected accounts and ShipStation are useless unless you also have an artist or label account. In the account and fan sections, you'll get to unclick boxes to opt out from any non-urgent email notification if you fancy. The rest is even more straightforward than that. Okay, now that I've shown you how to set an account, we can move forward with more ways to discover new music. See these icons on the top right side of the Bandcamp homepage? The bell is for notifications you get from the artists you follow. Ignore that for a minute. Focus instead on the lightning icon. Click on it and you get your feed page. I'm showing you mine here. Wait a second, you might say. Feed? Yes, Bandcamp incorporates some social media features too, as I will point out when they pop up. Notifications and feeds are two such features. The feed page, as you can see, shows you 4 new and notable releases on the top right. Releases Bandcamp thinks you'll dig, coming from artists or labels you bought from in the past or similar ones. But most importantly, here on the left, you'll get your whole fan activity feed. a long, algorithmically curated list from artists or genres you follow. Much more diverse than the new and notable section, much handier to find music to get your ears into. Naturally, you can sample a release on the spot clicking on the play button if you are a Virgo like me, or on anywhere on the release cover if you are a normie. The whole cover acts as a huge play/pause button. You can also put the release in your wishlist clicking on the heart or on the wishlist hyperlink. Or you can go to the releases page by either clicking the Buy Now or the Hear More hyperlinks. Okay, that sounds simple enough, but the real question is, how do you follow an artist or a genre? A question whose answer will come handy for notifications too. It's actually incredibly simple to follow something. Let's start with artists. Go to your favorite artist page, a certain Simon Mas, for example. See this follow button right here? Click on it. As you can read, now that you're following the artist, you'll get a notification when they release new music. That takes care of the notification business with left hanging. If you also want to get an email, basically a copy of the notification you get by clicking on the bell icon we saw before, that's right! Click on the Yes Please on this floating window. How about following whole genres? Let's go on the Bandcamp Discover page. Click on any genre, say rock. See? I'm following it already. Let's choose something else. Rock and roll. When only one unfollowed genre is selected, you get a follow button here on the right of the Discover page search box. Click on follow. Here you go, now I'm following the rock and roll genre. Curated suggestions from that genre will show up in my feed from now on.
Now we're talking!
You screwed up and want to revoke a follow? Simply click on that button again. Done! And before I forget, you unfollow artists in the same way. I think this is literally all you need to know on the subject. If I'm forgetting something, or if you want to tell me your tricks, please drop me a line with your questions or suggestions. One final thing, since we're talking about these icons on the top right, the heart. Click on it to go on your fan profile. The end. Okay, now it's time to shift gear and start talking about the human curated suggestions you can find on Bandcamp. Let's start with what many would call a dream come true: Bandcamp Radio. Imagine radio programming that focuses on music, with minimal and relevant chatting between numbers, with DJs that ignore pressures from major labels. That's pretty much what Bandcamp Radio is. Let's see. Here we are again on the Bandcamp homepage. I bet you saw it already. There, on the second layer of links on the top right. Oh, by the way, all the other layers on the left lead you to the Bandcamp Discover page. Click on the radio hyperlink to open the last episode. Enjoy! Wait a second, perhaps I need to tell you more. Episode structures are simple. It all starts with music. Then there's a host chatting with one musical guest here and there, and there's a lot more music. In fact, you visualize the episode as a playlist of songs. Useful if you want to skip to the next featured track, to wishlist an album, to visit the page of that release, to easily single out songs and artists to investigate. As the episode goes on, you can follow the progress on the playlist. This way, you get pretty pictures and a bigger placeholder than this tiny timer and horizontal scroll bar You know, in case you stop listening and you want to come back to the episode later. Naturally, the musical guest is featured in the playlist, but not overly so.
Seems fair.
If you want, you can check older episodes by clicking all shows here at the bottom of the episode insert. Insert? Thingy? Well, whatever you want to call this box here. See?
I see.
There are 3 kinds of episodes on Bandcamp Radio. Once a week you get Bandcamp Weekly, an open show with a different theme for each episode. More or less once every other week you get a hip-hop show focusing on hip-hop acts and guests. And on the off week you get the metal show which focuses on circus music. Just kidding. I wanted to see if you were actually paying attention. I'll be honest, as I usually am. I have rarely listened to these radio shows. The sad truth is that as good as they are, I just can't afford sitting at my PC for that long, which is a pity because these shows are rather engaging. Think about them as music audio-only podcasts hosted by music lovers and featuring music makers, which is what they are really. I do use the playlists to check out the records when I can though, which is another way you can use this tool, as an outline of releases that the show host wants you to look into. Now, since I'm being honest, I do have to share one of my pet complaints with human-created content on Bandcamp. There is a slant favoring English-speaking musicians, US acts mostly, with a good share of British music makers and more Aussies than one could expect. This applies to all kinds of blog posts we'll discuss later on too. Nevertheless, if you compare Bandcamp's human-created content with their equivalent in pretty much any other generalist media out there, other radios, magazines, non-niche famous blogs, Bandcamp's cultural variety has no match.
It looks like we have a clear winner, folks.
There's a lot more non-Anglo-Saxon music here than in most other English-speaking media, which is not too difficult as there is often zero non-Anglo-Saxon music featured over there. Perhaps you get the odd Puerto Rican, Caribbean or Mexican offering? So, while I would love for Bandcamp to feature even more music from all over the world, we still get a feeling that there are music cultures worth exploring out there. Not ideal, but alright. Since we're talking about human-curated content here on Bandcamp, I think we can focus on something special now. I'm talking about the second best way to find exciting music on the platform, second only to my beloved free-form browsing. Bandcamp Daily is an umbrella term for several blogs hosted by Bandcamp. You can see a few articles right here, displayed in this picture area, but there's much more. To access it all, you simply have to click the Bandcamp Daily hyperlink on the Bandcamp homepage. In fact, you can access the main categories on the top of any article too, but let's follow the hyperlink route right now. Click. You get a list of the various articles. The first 4 are the latest big ones, the top stories as they are called. You just need to scroll down a bit and bam, you get the latest section. What you find here might sometimes resemble the top stories list quite closely, but this section contains all the latest articles in order of release, not just the posts Bandcamp wants to push. There's 30 articles shown on the Bandcamp Daily homepage, but if you want to get all of them, you can either click See All close to the latest header. This will give you a complete list of 30 articles per page starting from the latest one. Or click View Older Posts here, which conveniently gives you a list starting from the 31st latest article, or page 2 of the complete list. Okay, all fine and dandy, but are these articles worth reading? And how much variety do we get? As I said, Bandcamp Daily contains different types of articles, categories, if you like. As you can see on the top of the Bandcamp Daily page, we get lists, features, album of the days, and although it's not listed here, best ofs. Features are articles typically focusing on a specific Bandcamp artist. You get the story presenting the artist and some featured tracks from their release. I want to say 3 to 6 releases. As you might have come to expect, each featured track gives you the chance to buy the album in question, put it on your wishlist, or go to the album page to investigate it further. Articles in this category also feature a deep dive into a specific album, like this article on a re-release of an Iranian film soundtrack, or into the world of a scene/record label/aggregator, like this entry on Church of Noise, or this one on Nashville Country. You also get the odd announcement about Bandcamp, like when they open their TikTok account. Overall, these are good articles. No Lester Bang, I guess, and thank God for that. But to the point, informative pieces of journalism. Of course, the staff is trying to get you excited about the music they are talking about, and of course they want you to buy. That's to be expected. On the other hand, the music is on display, and you can use your ears to judge whether a release is worth all the fuss or not.
You won't regret it.
List articles are, again, what you are probably expecting. Entries talking about a wide variety of releases sharing a common theme, like this one on Brazilian funk, or this one about UK post-rock. Same structure as the featured articles, wider variety of music in each entry. Personally, I dig the list articles more. My favorite category is album of the day though. These articles are short and super focused excuses to get to know a single release.
Woohoo! I hit the jackpot!
Finally, the best ofs. These are the articles I like the least because they feature the best sellers of a genre, of a month, of a season, of a medium. Don't get me wrong, there's some merit in thinking that if a release is bought by a lot of people, it could be better than one that has 0 sales. And the best of article also gives you a starting point to sample what Bandcamp can offer, and a common plateau to discuss music with fellow fans or with your friends. One might reasonably think that all the categories discussed in the previous section are enough to discover a thunderload of new music. But I know you. You know what you like and you want more. That's why I'm showing you this. Click on View All and you get the blue screen of love.
Oh, behave.
All the categories. Like all the best ofs articles sorted by year or genre. Speaking of which, you get articles categorized by genre at the bottom of the page. Again, really convenient to find what you want with less effort. But I want you to focus your attention on the list in the middle. Here, you'll find some categories that are not immediately available or that are discontinued. Like Bandcamp Navigator, a series of articles exploring music by tag hopping. They start with one album, choose one of its tags, and then find another commendable album sharing the same tag, and then they repeat the procedure with another tag of the second album, another from the third, and so on until the end of the article. This might be the most geographically diverse series on Bandcamp. Or take Certified instead. a discontinued series featuring artists that Bandcamp certifies as interesting. The current shortlist series does more or less the same. Hidden Gems posts focus on great niche music, and there's label profile, lifetime achievement, gallery. In short, you will find enough material to spend months listening and discovering new music thanks to these human-curated articles. Oh sure, humans are necessarily biased, and it's much more expensive to keep a blogger fed than an algorithm going. But if nothing else, these albums are not being suggested just because people, or bots, are clicking on them, or because you, and I mean you, have to be kept in your personal music rut in order to watch more adverts or whatnot. And that is good news. Let's quit the seemingly endless analysis of the resources of the Bandcamp homepage for a bit. If nothing else, to give a bit of variety to this guide, but in fact, because this topic is going to come handy very soon. Let's talk about release and musician pages. Okay, let's choose whatever release. Perhaps going down the Bandcamp homepage until we get to this, the new and notable section, simply featuring some highlighted releases. Let's choose the first release. It really doesn't matter. Click on the release or artist name. Clicking on the cover starts the player. Here we go. We are on the release page. In this case, thankfully, it is an album, meaning I can ditch the boring-ass release spiel reminiscent of a music business class. You see the name of the album here, the name of the artist that you can click to get to the artist page. We're going to talk about that later. And then a big play button and a horizontal scroll bar right next to the big album cover. And guess what? That's right, you can click on the button and start listening to the highlighted track. Did anyone call it a single? The small double arrows next to the scrolling bar, again, do exactly what you think they do. They change the track you're playing. Clicking on those double arrows will put the insert into play mode, even if it was set on pause. Right below the cover, you get a link that you can use to share or embed the album on a web page. Personally, I never understood why using those buttons to share something on a social is more convenient than copying and pasting the link, but I guess I'm too old to get it. On the other hand, I do find the embed function useful if you have a blog or a website. Here we get 3 different layouts. I'll choose one randomly since we can change our mind later. As you can see, we do get further customization. We can choose some basic colors through the themes and links, and some basic choices for the widget in the layout section. Nothing mind-blowing, but still a very nice touch. You can also choose between an embed code in HTML or one for your WordPress website. There's also a link for something specific to Tumblr, which I admit I don't fully understand, probably because I never had a Tumblr blog. I think it's a pretty straightforward explanation of what to choose if you want the result to look good on Tumblr, but if I'm mistaken, do tell me off with a comment. Anyway, back to the album page. Here's the link to put the release in your wishlist if you are so inclined.
Why shouldn't I?
Further down the cover image, you get reviews by people who bought this album, if anyone has written any. And then the Bandcamp profile picture of all of the album buyers. On the far right column, some general stuff. Picture of the artist or label, in case the profile belongs to an independent label like Analog Africa. Name of the artist, or again label, I'm not gonna say it every time. location or where the artist is based, button to follow the artist, social media links, discography with the 3 latest releases. You might want to click on more releases to get to the artist page, but first, the contact/help links.
Gimme!
Let's talk about the contact one first. Click on it to get a hovering window through which you can send a message to your hero. That's a really nice touch, I think. True, these days you can reach an artist on several social media platforms, but it's nice that you can do it right here on Bandcamp. Maybe you have a question about this release? It's much easier to ask it right on this page. But even if it's just to say hello, I think it's more intimate and focused. Of course, you might never get a response. Some people are just disorganized. But in my experience, replies happen more often here than on socials, perhaps because the signal-to-noise ratio is much better on Bandcamp?
Perhaps, Data, perhaps.
Moving on, we get a help link, a link to enter any code to get discounts on the album, and then one to report the page, in case some sellers try a fast one on you, or they try to impersonate someone else. Honestly, I can't tell you how these reports are handled. Is there someone with a couple of active neurons looking into the claims? Or is it like on some other platforms where ham-fist algorithms or inept, careless humans act with the love and care that US insurance companies are world-renowned for? I've never filed a report, nobody has ever reported me, and any search about the subject didn't unveil any major user complaints, so...
Well, that settles it.
So let's move our tour onwards, looking at the left portion of the page. Let's engage with the music, maybe choosing an album giving us more than just the basic options. Look, this Analog Africa release even has a short promotional video on top of anything else. Scroll down and you will see the option to buy a vinyl version of the album in question, then the digital-only option. Keep in mind that all the physical options include the digital release too. Maybe you fancy the CD? Merch time with 2 t-shirts and a tote bag. A very interesting offer to buy the whole label's digital discography at a discount. Keep in mind that when you choose this option, you will buy all the albums released up to that point. If you want future albums, you will need to buy them one by one. They are never included in this type of offer. Keep on scrolling to get the track list, where you can choose to buy a single track by clicking these links here. You get this subpage and this shopping link. Further down, some release notes and release credits. And then the tags section, where Analog Africa categorized this release. Naturally, if you click on any of the tags, you go to the Bandcamp Discover page, where you can venture into all the tagging rabbit holes we have discussed. Further down below, you also get some recommendations. Not just stuff that sounds similar to this release, but also, like it happens here, albums that the artists themselves recommend. And then some blog posts that are connected to the album in question, sometimes very loosely so. One last thing, there is a nice segue into the artist/label page option, what I call the area tabs, for a lack of a better term. Area tabs are at the very top of each page. There could be just a couple of options, as you see here. Let's click on the Community tab to access one of Bandcamp's social media features. Okay, I'm not following Frazi, so I basically receive a message saying that unless I do, I won't be able to read much or comment on the posts. But as soon as I hit follow, I get the equivalent of a Facebook personal feed. You get all the posting activity of the artist and you can engage with them and with other fans. Okay, cool. Let's click on the music tab now. Doing that will not bring us back to the release page. It ushers us to our next big topic. Artist pages or label. Wait, that's not technically true, as we will see. There's two ways we can get to these pages. One, as you have seen, is clicking on the music tab that you get on any page. The other, from a release page, is to click on the discography link on the far right column. Artist pages prominently show us a grid with all the releases of that artist. Now, before we get to an obvious criticism of this display, one word about labels. You get two types of label pages. Analog Africa is one example. Here, the label is treated as an artist. Oh, sure, each album features different musicians, but the way things are displayed does not differ from the standard artist pages. But then you have, say, below system records, accessible by clicking this type of link on the top left of, confusingly, some of their releases. This one from Farazi, for example, but not this one from Fat Cat. On the label's music page, you get the usual array of albums, but you also get the artists tab. Click on it, and you only get 3 from their roster. That's clearly not all of their artists. I think these are the ones whose albums get the additional link on the top left. They might be singled out because they don't have an exclusive deal with Below System, maybe because they have their separate artist page on Bandcamp. Can't really tell. It is a bit confusing, but you might never give it one thought when you are actually using Bandcamp, as opposed to watching an extremely thorough video about using it. There's another thing that can be much more frustrating. The way of showing releases on an artist page is simple, alright, but it is less than optimal, especially if releases start to pile up. Are these albums, EPs, singles? Are they all physical releases? Which one, if any, are digital only? Which one is still available physically? Which release is on vinyl? Which one on CD? Which one on cassette? And wouldn't it be nice to see the basic price of at least the digital release for each item? You can find the answer to those questions yourself by browsing each release page, but it is time-consuming and more confusing than I like. Different colors, different backgrounds, different page elements. Creators can even decide the display order of the release type on the album page. Here you get vinyl first. Here you get digital first. And maybe it's just me, but if I'm scanning the page for a digital-only price, I can get confused. Naturally, this is not a big deal. Nevertheless, I'm presenting Bandcamp, and it's fair to also tell you about what can be improved. But whatever change is not going to happen live as I speak, right? Let's move on with our exploration of all things Bandcamp. Time to see what other social media functionalities this platform gives us fans to get closer, to start conversations, to feel like a community. Let's see! One of the things you can do on Bandcamp is nosing into other fans' collections, if they allow that option, that is. How do you do that? Well, in many ways. The easiest is going to the release page of any album you like, such as this one. Here you get fan reviews and here the profile picture of whoever bought this album. You do remember that, right? We just talked about it when we spoke of release pages. Do you want to read more reviews? Click on more. Naturally, this is useful if you're considering buying an album, but even more so if you want to connect with someone. What are they saying about the album? Does it sound like something you agree with? Then maybe they like other music you might like too.
Great minds think alike.
Hover on the profile picture to see a bigger version of it. Click on it to go on that person's profile. Besides, this also works with the grid of profile pictures below. Okay, we're looking at AI Gaming X's profile. I'll call them X for short. Bandcamp tells me that we have only one item in common. You'd think we don't have much in common, but Bandcamp is so big that it's hard to have that many albums in common with someone. One thing that we can do is browse through X's other purchases. And that's the number one thing we all do on social media, right? Prying. Besides, who knows, there might be something that grabs our attention. Conveniently, X's reviews are placed beneath each album so that we can use them to navigate their collection better. But there's more, as usual. If we choose another profile, you'll see John Ken, for example, has put a link to his social media, a Facebook account. Would it be out of question to go on Facebook and contact him saying, "Hey, I bought this album and you did too. You want to discuss it?" I guess it depends on how sociable you are. Surely though, if John put a link in his profile, I guess he won't be too shocked if someone says hello. So, while you can't connect with him on Bandcamp, at least we get something. I can see why the folks at Bandcamp do not want to implement anything more direct than that. It requires a lot of effort, manpower, and it would sort of turn Bandcamp into a kind of musical Facebook, and that's not their core business. Notice that you can still follow another fan on Bandcamp, which in true social media fashion takes the stalking to the next level. No. Following a fan only means that when they buy anything, you will get a message saying what they bought, so that you can check that release yourself, I guess. And that's that for this feature, but there's more. You were kind of expecting that, right? There is one feature right on the Bandcamp homepage that is reminiscent of a Twitter feed of sorts, the Selling Right Now feed. The idea behind it was to show that people do buy independent music, but basically you get a non-scrollable feed of random covers, extremely random. But if you like watching album art scroll by and quickly get impressed enough to check a release, this quirky feature is for you. You can pause the feed, mind. All it takes is putting your mouse pointer on it. After a couple of seconds, you get this tongue-in-cheek reminder. And as soon as you take your pointer off, BAM! You're back live, baby! I use this rarely, but I have to admit that I got more fun out of it than I ever got out of Twitter. Yes, I called it Twitter once again. Sue me, Elon. Now, before we get to the most exciting option to connect with real people, hear me out for a minute. This whole video and all of the extras have been independently produced. No, Bandcamp did not commission this huge guide. And no, I have no sponsors. It's been a labor of love. So please, if you followed this far, if you're getting something out of my efforts, and if you can do so without breaking the bank, consider a small donation. Or like wise men say, if this video made your day, give old Simon what you may. Even a tiny amount of money is a big morale booster and a little help to ensure that I keep on producing more and better music-related content for you to enjoy for free. Thank you. Now, back to that best feature I was telling you about. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm old enough to have gone record shopping with friends. And I mean vinyls, when CDs were still more expensive and relatively new. Since nobody could afford to buy multiple albums in one go, we went to the shop, we carefully picked up the one album we could afford, something that could take up to 20 minutes unless Gianfranco was with us. Then it would take at least an hour. And then we went to someone's house to listen to what we had bought. That, my dear top hatters, was the poor kid's version of a Bandcamp listening party. There was no party, no cake, no alcohol, no drugs, but there was listening. I'm honored Bandcamp has decided to try and replicate a bit of that experience with their listening parties.
Yeah, right.
If you scroll down the home page, you get a list of 10 such upcoming events and a link to get the full schedule. You don't need to reserve a spot, you don't need to dress up, you don't need to bring a keg of beer, you just need to show up and listen to the album.
I'm so 2006.
And interact with other fans and the album creators if you are so inclined. There's a live chat for that. Basically, you cut the record shop part and Gianfranco taking forever to decide between LA Woman or Morrison Hotel, only to pick up something else. If you like what you hear during the listening party, you can of course buy the record or tip the artist. If not, you're cool anyway. Coming to think about it, maybe Bandcamp came up with this type of event to help artists creating a hype around their new releases, to help them build a rapport with their fans, not because of my early teen experiences? Nah, I'm a content creator. It's certainly all about me. And since the voices are saying it's all about me, and we're approaching the end of this mammoth video, I want to indulge myself. That's right, I'm gonna buy me an album and show you how it is done. Now, you want to pay close attention because this is hard stuff that requires big brains. Just kidding, but stay tuned until the end. I'll share another drawback Bandcamp has. Here we are in my seemingly endless wishlist. I already know which album I want to buy because I've checked it out a bit and it made an impression. This bad guy here. Click on the name to go to the release page. I'm going to buy just his album for now, but I will check other QTV releases. If they're anything near the intensity of a Celero, I might buy their entire discography. Digital album it is then. Here, I could type a higher price if I wanted. As you can see, there is also a link to insert a redeem code or to include a message to the label. QTV Celo is a label. I can decide to get onto their mailing list or add the album to the cart and keep on shopping. But let's make this really basic. Let's go straight to the checkout. I do have a PayPal account, as you know, but if I didn't, I could still pay with a credit card. Here we are. Notice that the price has increased. This happened because of Italian's VAT. At 22%, that's the extra $1.54 shown here. I'm going to cut the PayPal stuff as this is not a PayPal tutorial, but I'm showing you what I get when I complete the payment. This nifty page. There's a message saying that we can stream this album from the phone app or online. We can also download the album choosing between various formats. Generally speaking, you get a zip file with the tracks, the release cover, and any booklet that is included. When the files are prepared, you get this link here. Click on it to start the download. And basically, this is it. How many clicks was that? 3? 4? He's a spy, really. let's quickly touch on some special cases. I call them special just because the standard release is digital these days. 1. Name your price albums, like this one. You actually get to name your price starting from $0, euros or whatnot. If you pay 50 cents or more, you can actually add it to your collection, otherwise you can just download the album. Notice that if you decide to pay even 1 cent, you can opt out from getting on the artist's mailing list. Otherwise, you will be added automatically and then you can opt out.
I can live with that.
2. Physical releases or merchandise. When I bought the deluxe CD version of Peter Gabriel's I.O. last year, everything was just as if I was buying a digital release, with one important difference: the shipping. Naturally, you have to pay for the shipping because you can't download a physical good, and shipping can get expensive. National or international postage, customs, tariffs, and the nature of Bandcamp doesn't help. See, Bandcamp doesn't have a warehouse. It's not them shipping the goods, but the artists or their labels. So, if you buy 3 albums from 3 different artists, you can't group the items together to save on the shipping.
Oh man!
This is a necessary evil unless one wants to change the way the site operates, of course, which means more costs for Bandcamp, which in turn would mean less money for the artists.
No can do.
3. Bandcamp Friday. On the first Friday of each month, Bandcamp will give 100% of the payment of any sale to the artists, after deducting the payment expenses, of course. Nothing really changes for us buyers. The difference is that the music makers will get more money. Personally, I don't overuse this option. It costs money to keep everything going, and there are some features Bandcamp offers that I absolutely love. There are mobile streaming, for example, or the fact you can listen to an album before you buy it, with no commercials. I think Bandcamp Decides needs my support too, and I also think that they are not asking for too much. I completed my shopping. I have a new album. Let's go back to my collection, and here you go. That's the album I just bought with a nice new diagonal band on it. Don't worry, the band will disappear in due course. But this is where I have to voice my complaint. Have you spotted the problem? It's one echoing the organizational issue we saw elsewhere. There is simply no way I can organize my collection. I can search through it, sure, but I don't even get a divider between my own albums and those by other people. On the phone app, which I'm not featuring here, you can decide to sort the collection alphabetically by artist name, by latest acquisition, by most played by you of course, and by most recently played. It's far from perfect, but it still beats the website. We only get the acquisition order here. It's still okay with small collections, but it starts becoming a problem when you start buying more and more, especially if you start buying whole discographies. Dear Bandcamp, if you are watching, please fix this.
In the name of Marie Kondo?
It would make exploring one's collection much easier. Less time to find an album, more time to listen. Before I forget, you can listen to any album in your collection from their release pages, or clicking on the cover while browsing your collection. I find the release pages better if I want to skip or choose tracks, just because I have the full list laid out clearly, but I'm lazy. You can get the same list in the floating player by clicking here. Well, this should be it. I have tried to explain every little thing on Bandcamp, as long as it was of some significance, of course. Having said that, I wouldn't be surprised to find out I've forgotten something the moment I upload the video. That's usually the case when you explain how to use things you use every day, isn't it? If you find any glaring holes or mistakes, please don't crucify me. You can simply leave me a comment. Feel free to also share your tricks and best uses for Bandcamp too. It helps everyone and it will make you someone's hero. Mine, for sure. Well, my dear top hatters, this was your Simon Mas closing this video. Stick around for more music-related content. For the moment, stay cool and keep your top hat on. Bye!